Welcome back. Now, this episode is going to answer your questions. What is seller financing in real estate? Now, you can do seller financing on a lot of things beside real estate. You could sell your mobile home that way. You could sell a car that way. You could sell a boat that way. We're just going to talk a little bit about selling using property as the security. So starting with, we're late in life for a lot of people. Well, I understand they're nervous. They don't know if they're going to have enough money. They don't know if they're going to be doing okay. Well, if you have a real estate property that you're using as a rental, well, you could sell it with seller financing. And guess what? As soon as you do that, you'll be getting monthly payments. So that's going to help out a lot. All right, so you'll be able to catch up quickly in this business, even if you've had some trouble in the past. You had a few curveballs, you were sick, or you just made a lot of judgment errors and didn't get started, make some money. You can sell a property and catch up quickly because you can get income for 10 or 20 years' time. So when you talk about seller financing, the security for the loan, the security is going to be the property. So we're actually going to sell it with a contract, okay? So they call that seller financing. Some people call it a contract for sale. Some people call it a land contract. So there's lots of names for it, but it's nothing more than seller financing. In other words, you're going to be the banker. You're the banker. You're going to make the decision. Are they approved? Are they not approved? You're going to make the decision on how much money. Well, you don't know a lot about doing that, but title companies will help you out with it. All you need is a loan document, and once you have a loan document the title company approves, you've got that, and then you can figure out an amortization scale very easily on your computer. If you can't do it there, they have amortization scales. You can buy them in the stationery store, if we're going to say. All right, so I'm not an attorney, I'm not a real estate broker, and I'm not a CPA. I'm just an author and basically a publisher, but more than anything, I'm an investor. So I like to invest in tax lien certificates, but I like tax defaulted properties a lot more than that. So what I want you to do is kind of open up your mind, and I want you to understand that this is a real profitable way to make money. Now, I'm making a lot of different videos on the channel about investments and about seller financing. So you'll want to watch those so you start to learn how to do this. But there's plenty of books on the internet. You can Google those or whatever. But selling financing is important two ways. One, if you're a buyer, you might want to buy from a seller that's doing that. And if you're a seller, what a great way to improve your money. Okay, so I've been involved in real estate for all my life, but the last 30 years I've been involved in tax liens and tax defaulted property. So you're going to call them tax liens and tax deeds. All right. Now, I've been involved in that because when I first learned about it and I saw the margin between buying a property for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar and then I could sell it for anything I wanted, well, then I knew right away I could make my money when I buy. So this is a business. If you're just getting started, you're going to make your money when you buy. So if you buy it right, you're going to do just fine. All right, now tax lien certificates are a safe, secure investment. Tax deeds are more entrepreneurial. Now, I didn't say they weren't safe, but what I am going to tell you is you need to buy it right. So you don't want to get into a bidding war. You don't want to buy a property that you don't have an exit strategy. So you want a nice, secure investment. Well, real estate's a nice, secure investment, and you can sell it and even keep the title if you do seller financing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Now, when you buy at an auction, your objective is to buy at as low as possible. Now, they sell properties at auction for 60, 70, 80% discounts. Why did they do that? Because the local government has already gone out and seized the property. What do they want to do with it? They don't want it. They just want to get it back on the tax roll. So what they'll do is they'll start the bidding at maybe the back taxes or very close to that. So 10 or 20 cents on the dollar is the starting price. It might go higher than that because someone else will bid higher than that. But the point is, you want to make sure that you buy it right. Now, I'll be right back and tell you more about that. Okay, so what's the question today? What is seller financing in real estate? Well, it's not a difficult process. And as I say, you can do it on boats, you can do it on campers, you can do it on houses, okay? So this question comes up all the time. Can I do that? Is it legal? Is it ethical? Well, regular property being sold, traditionally the people say they get a broker to sell the property. And then the broker, they don't want to do any financing, so what they do is they get a banker. So now you get two people trying to make a decision to help you sell. Well, maybe they get done quickly, but maybe it just takes a heck of a long time. Or maybe they disqualify a lot of the buyers because banks won't take people that don't have pristine credit. All right, so what is seller financing? Folks, I'm going to show you a little bit about it today, But this is how you make deals. You want to have a competitive advantage? You can set your own rates of return. You can set your own down payments. You can set the interest rates. You can do everything you want by doing seller financing. Now, do you get checks for a long time? Sure, 10 or 20 years. I have people that have bought as many as 60 properties in 6 years, and they sold every one of them using seller financing. All right, so what I just said is they sold 60 properties, and they collected the money. How would you like to have 60 checks coming in? I know you'd like to do that. All right, so Mr. and Mrs. whatever, they want to sell their property. All right, to do that, if they'll use seller financing, they can decide on what the down payment is going to be, and they can decide what the payments are going to be. Now, sellers come along and they don't, buyers come along and they want to get as low a down payment as possible, and they want to get payments as low as possible. Well, you might go ahead and do that, and they can make a final payment when they go to sell the property later. There's lots of ways to do seller financing. It's legal, it's ethical. Now, if you don't understand all the details, title companies are there to help you. They have contracts. Attorneys are there to help you. They have contracts. All right, now which do you think is going to be cheaper? Well, it's going to be the title company. All right, so they're going to be able to help you a lot and not spend a lot of money. All right, you're going to approve the buyer's credit. All right, so the people have a good job and they're getting good paychecks. Don't discount them, even if they did have a divorce, even if they have made bad decisions. If they can pay you, well, then you want to sell the property. All right, now I didn't say take any bad risks. Go ahead and do credit checks on them, whatever. But the point is, you want to take people that have good jobs and have good checks coming in. They can have all kinds of trouble. I can tell you right now, people get themselves in trouble and they have a lot of bad judgment. But now they need a property and the banks are going to reject them. If they've got a low FICO score, I can tell you right now, the bank is just going to reject them. All right, now this method, you don't have to worry about the appraiser. You don't have to worry about the home inspector. You don't have to worry about the bank. What's my point? Just as you see in the slide, the gentleman's handing them an installment contract. They're basically going to sign that. It's an IOU, it's a promissory note, and it puts all the terms in it. They have to pay that. Now, they can still live in the property, so they're perfectly happy. When they finish paying you, then you can give them the title. Don't give them the title until they finish paying you. All right, now how are you going to get this paperwork done? Not to worry about the paperwork. That's going to be the easiest part. Why? Because title companies will help you do that. Title companies will give you a contract. They cost pennies. I didn't say not to use an attorney. If you want to, some states you'll have to use an attorney. You'll be required to do that. So if that's the case, it's going to add more to the cost. Now, if you're a seller, you got a lot of costs to think about when you're going to sell. You're going to have to pay a broker. You're going to have to pay an attorney. You're going to have to pay for a title report. You're going to have to pay for a home inspection. You're getting the idea. All right. All of that's going to come out of the sales price when you sell. So it's not unusual for a $100,000 property to use up $10,000 in expenses just selling it. Now, if you did seller financing, you might be able to avoid that. Seller financing is going to attract a lot of people right away. You might not need a broker. If you don't know how to do the paperwork, hire a broker to help you with it. But you don't have to pay the top commissions. My point is, all this stuff is negotiable. It's all perfectly legal. You own the property. You can do exactly what you want. All right, so let's look at an example. So you have an example of a nice home you can see in the background there. What if it's worth $150,000? You want to say you want 10% down? You can start there. A lot of new homes, they're going to charge 20 and 25% down. If they're government loans, they only want to pay 2 or 3%, but you don't want to be in that bit. So you determine what you want the down payment to be. That leaves so much to make payments. All right, those installment payments are coming to you. So you could say you want 10 years and amortize it, or you can do 20 years. It's going to be up to you what you want to do. All right, so what's my point? My point is you now have control, because what are you doing? You're using seller financing. So that's the question we're answering today. This episode is all about seller financing. So what do you need to do that? Well, you're definitely going to need a contract for the deed. You need a contract to put this together. Go to a title company and say, look, you're going to do business this way. And they'll not only go over an attorney at the title company, probably go over the paperwork with you. Ultimately, you're going to hold on to that deed. You're not going to sell it. You're not going to give anybody that deed. That's the title. You do not want to pass that on to anyone until they've completed their payments. All right, you want a bigger down payment or a smaller down payment? Well, I understand that. You're going to negotiate those. So we're just getting you introduced to it today. Now, I don't know what state you're in, and I don't know the laws. I'm an investor like you are, but I know that there's truth in lending laws. So the truth in lending can be different from state to state. So you can Google those, or you can get it from a title company. So is there going to be other documents? Well, sure. When you sell a property, you have to disclose if you know anything's wrong with it. So disclose the documents. Not unusual to have those documents. Everybody will ask for those kind of things. So you can acquire all the stuff ahead of time and start studying a little bit. But think of the money you're saving. Instead of paying 10% of the sales price, you're going to keep that money and you're going to get payments on it for the next 10 years. That's going to make a big difference in how much money you're going to. All right, so you want to make money. So am I negative on using the attorneys and all that? No, but the disclosure documents and all these are required. The title company will have it. Use an attorney if you like. Just understand they make anywhere from $250 to $500 an hour for this kind of work. And so you're going to have to pay that. Now, you have to pay right away? Probably not. But when you sell it, they'll all have a claim. The broker will have a claim. The attorney will have a claim. Everybody that you know is going to have a claim, and they're going to suck up about 10% of the total value of the property. All right, now, I position my clients from day one. I say, look, you want to be involved in this kind of business? Start thinking about using seller financing. Start thinking about that. Why? Because it's going to add to your profit, and it's going to add significantly, and it's going to add to how many people come and look at your property. So your advertising, which could be on Craigslist, it could be on Facebook Marketplace, and certainly it's going to be signs all over the property, is going to say installment sale, seller financing, or owner financing. When you say that, you're attracting a lot of people that have had some difficulty in their life. By that I mean maybe they just had a divorce and their credit went upside down. Or maybe they didn't pay their bills very well. They used bad judgment. Well, they have poor FICO scores. If they have poor FICO scores, they're going to have trouble at the bank. The bank is just going to reject them. So you're looking for people that have good jobs and they're going to make good credit risk. Good jobs means they're getting good money. If they're getting good money, they're going to want to buy property. They want to take care of their family. And when they want to take care of their family, they need a shelter to do that. All right, so you can modify the down payment. You can have low payments the first year and higher payments the next year. You can do anything you want with seller finance. Now, are you going to be a CPA and do that? No, but you can hire people that will do that. You can get books that will help you with that. I certainly don't have time to do it here, but installment payments and low down payments, I'm going to tell you, thousands of people are attracted to that. But what they're attracted to most is the seller financing, because you can make the decision. They don't have to wait for a bank officer to approve them. They don't have to wait for a property to have a home inspection. They don't have to wait for appraisals. They can make the deal right now. So you could have a property that's worth a lot of money, for example, a $150,000 property, get the $15,000 and work out the payment plan. You can get all that done in a matter of hours on the hood of a car, and you're in business selling your house. Whereas if you have a realtor do it, they still have to go to the bank. You're not going to get that house sold until the banker approves it. That might take 1 or 2 months, depending upon the workload there. All right, so if you want to make money, you need to learn about seller financing in real estate. Why? Because you might be able to double the money on the property. All right, now I'm finished up for this particular video, and I want you to know that right below me is a free gift for you. All right, now, if you have questions, send your questions in. I'll get them answered. If you have comments, send them in. Would like to know about that. It's going to be up to you. Now, here's a couple of mistakes you want to avoid. Avoid mistake number 1. Don't buy a property unless you've seen it if you're going to auctions. I didn't talk much about auctions today, but if you're going to auction, don't buy anything you haven't seen. Second big thing at auction, make sure that you don't get in a bidding war. Always know what you're going to sell it for before you buy it. I'm Ted Thomas. Go right below me, and you'll find a free gift.